Roll call. Brittany.
Present.
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 Absent today, Lisa LeClaire,
Present.
Hank Lachlan. No, Hank. Shannon Sanders and Q Taylor. Good. We do have a quorum, and we will continue on with the meeting. We'll start with the approval of our September minutes. The minutes were sent out in our announcement for the meeting. If everyone's had an opportunity to review the minutes, I'll ask for a motion of approval.
So moved.
Second. It has been moved and properly second. Are you ready to vote? All those in favor say yes or no? Yes?
Yes.
Any opposed? No? The motion will stand approved for our minutes. The next, we will have our financial report by Jeff Mefford.
The financial report for the first 2 months of the fiscal year, or first 4 months of the fiscal year, is in your packet through October. And I'm pleased to report that 1/3 of the way through this fiscal year, the financial results of our activities have been very positive. Hotel tax collections for fiscal '23 have continued to set records. The totals for both July and August have set new monthly records for each of those months. And it's actually been true for each of the last 7 months. So every month since February has set a new tax collection record for that month. So we've started another string. Last time I think it was like 8 years or something that we had that record going. As is reflected in the financial summary, the total that has been billed to the city for this fiscal year under our contract with Metro is $11,510,063. As the contract is a reimbursement-only contract, this total represents only the amount required to cover our actual expenses, not the actual amount of tax collections. Expenses for the year thus far tracking very much in line with budget. Overall, our total expenses for these 4 months have been $13,958,936, of which about 82% was funded through our city contract. This includes 2 of our 3 largest activities that are planned for the year, the July 4th celebration and hosting the ASAE annual meeting. Costs related to those events, both of which came in under budget, are included in the financial report. The field work for our annual external CPA audit of our fiscal '22 financial statement has been completed. The report is in the preparation stage. No adjustments were made to the report as previously presented, and the final report will be provided to Metro Finance once it's available later this year. Be glad to try to address any questions if there are any.
Just like the good news of tax collections. That's good to see those records coming back, so appreciate the
Very
report.
much is.
Any questions regarding Jeff's report? If not, we will continue on to the president, and I believe, Dina, you're going to cover marketing as well?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll just roll into both. There you go. Good morning. As Jeff said, our recovery continues to be strong. For the first 2 months of this fiscal year, our hotel tax collections were up 35% ahead of 2019 and 27% ahead of last year. That is definitely stronger than most destinations across the country that we are seeing. So we're very happy about that. Our board of directors sets our annual goals, and you'll see the chart in your packet. You can take a look at that. We are pacing well for this time of year, knowing that our stronger numbers come in the spring in each category. On the convention sales side, our leads are tracking 62% ahead of last year. Our definite bookings are tracking 103% ahead of this time last year, and definite room nights are up 32%. So we're seeing an increase in bookings on the meeting side. The attendance is still lagging a little bit. Not as many people are coming from what they had booked, but that's starting to pick up as well. And we can get into more details in the team reports as well. And other business preparations are underway for our New Year's Eve event that the CBC produces. We once again have a 5-hour television show on CBS. The ratings were so strong that they wanted to come back again. We are the only national broadcast with a central time zone drop at midnight, which we had fought for last year, and it represents about 97 million people. So if even a small percentage of those watch, it's good for Nashville. Talent this year includes the Fifth Jubilee Singers to kick it off, and then Brooks and Dunn, Kelsey Ballerini, and the Zach Brown Band, along with many special guests. We announced the host yesterday, and they are Jimmy Allen, Elle King, and Entertainment Tonight's Rachel Smith. She's returning again. It's very important for us to include diversity in both music and the people of Nashville, so we continue to encourage CBS and the producers of the TV show to include as much as possible. Wanted to remind you all of why we host this event and produce this event. It's not only for the millions of people that'll be watching it, but for the economic impact of the city. Attendance last year was 200,000. 41% of those were visitors. So it was a good local turnout as well. But those visitors represent $29.9 million in estimated direct visitor spending. Davidson County hotel occupancy on December 31st of 21 was 79.1%, and that was 29,118 rooms sold. So that's really the reason that we do this event. It's also interesting to note that this year, there will be 1,939 more hotel rooms than last year. So we have to continue to create that demand. Not only all those good things about the event, but we also have an element of the event of giving back to the community. For several years, we've partnered with Second Harvest Food Bank. We collect donations. We work through Kroger to collect them ahead of time and then also on site. And we also do a cash donation from our merchandise sales. We sell T-shirts. And we partner with the CKO, Care Kitchen Outreach, and we give the unused catering, leftover catering, to them to give to charitable organizations. So there is an element of giving back to the community from New Year's Eve. That concludes the president's report. I'll just roll into the marketing report, and along the same lines for New Year's Eve, we are doing a couple of big promotions this year. Val Pack that you get in the mail, the coupons that you get in the mail. We are partnering with them, and it's unbelievable the number of households those go to and the people that look at those. The promotion that we are part of was sent to 4 million homes, and we already have almost 10,000 entries into a giveaway to a trip to Nashville. So that's pretty incredible promotion. And we are partnering.
I'm sorry, that's a direct result of the Val Pack?
Yes, Valpak, yes. I know, people are thinking they throw those away, don't you?
Yeah.
No, there are a lot of people that read those.
Next time.
There's good coupons. And they're pleased, Valpak is thrilled with it, so they're really happy. We're also partnering with a company called Craven, and they have snacks and goods that they put in grocery stores, and we're doing a point of purchase display in 5,000 grocery stores across the country. And again, it's a sweepstakes to win a trip to Nashville's New Year's Eve. That's a big promotion, and so far we have 21,000 entries in that promotion. So everybody wants to come to Nashville for New Year's. So it's really good exposure for us across the country. On the PR side, we've recently hosted 2 domestic group press trips in September and November. It was a combined 20 journalists. We hosted 19 individual journalists from September 1st through November 11th. We do everything to show them the across the city, neighborhoods from North Nashville, Germantown, East Nashville, 12 South, across the city, everything that we can possibly fit into a press trip. On the advertising highlights, September and October advertising resulted in over 17 million impressions. And this fall, we launched a new campaign called Hitting the High Notes to reach a higher end demographic. We continued to advertise internationally in the UK market, with British Airways and their relaunch of the flight. I just had a meeting with them last week, and they are going to continue the flight at 6 days a week through the winter, which is really, really good. They told me that New Orleans is still at 3 days, has not increased. So we felt good about that. And then they'll go back to 7 days in the spring. So it's great for us to have that flight, and we're doing quite a bit of advertising there. We have some new partnerships in advertising that we're launching this month. The Rob Report, if you're familiar with the Rob Report. Additional drivers, that is Women's Wear Daily and Rolling Stone. We're doing a digital campaign with Global Traveler, which includes partnerships across Global Traveler's portfolio via Wherever Family and Trazee's Traveler. Probably haven't heard of those, but that'll be a good campaign for us. And then TripAdvisor digital campaign. And one last thing I have to add, on the dining scene, you've probably seen that we had 2 restaurants that were just given some great accolades. Locust was named the best restaurant in the United States by Food and Wine magazine, which is incredible. And Locust and Audrey were named in the top 50 restaurants in the United States by New York Times, which is fantastic. So our dining scene is so strong. And one last thing, or two things with that. In March, we're hosting the James Beard Awards announcement. So we'll have that in the evening before. We'll have a ticketed event that will be raising money for their foundation. And we'll have talented chefs to showcase our dining scene. And then just a reminder that last year in February, we started Dine Nashville, and we'll be doing that again this year. It's a month to celebrate our restaurants and chefs, and it includes chef collaborations with ticketed events, but then also deals and discounts the last week of February. So we hope to bring in visitors in a slower month. And I'm happy to take any questions. I know that was a lot and fast. It's March 28th. 28th and 29th. Heather, do you know the announcement is the 29th? 29th. Yeah, the announcement's the 29th, the dinner's the 28th.
We know where that, yeah.
We're working on that right now. Mhm.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. This is very exciting to see, knowing that our definite room nights are ahead, which means more heads in beds for our hospitality community. And then again, being awarded 5 hours on CBS. So that is good news. But as we continue to pivot during this pandemic, the ValPack is a very unique marketing opportunity. So we look forward to hearing more about that. But that's amazing. So this is for New Year's Eve or just a
Yes,
trip?
New Year's Eve.
Okay, New Year's Eve.
And New Year's Eve is on Saturday. That's
Yes.
great.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
So it'll be a
And
big
the
day.
Music City
Music
Bowl
City
and the
Bowl.
Titans game, it'll be a big weekend.
Big
And we'll be
weekend.
promoting all of that together.
I have one question. On the November count for convention sales leads and bookings, granted, it's only through the 13th of the month, but it looks like a considerable decline. Is that seasonality or just things haven't wrapped up for the month yet? Or are we starting to see a little bit of softening there?
We can go on into your report.
Sure, I can speak to that. Historically speaking, the hotel community waits toward the end of the quarters, so we'll see some significant uptick toward the end of December. But typically, December is a stronger month compared to the other months. But truly, we are right on track in terms of pace compared to other years as far as where we've fallen. On the definite room side, lead room nights, actually, number of leads are up 62% over last fiscal year. So we're definitely seeing a lot of traffic. Happy to head into CVent recently ranked Nashville as number 2, only to Orlando in terms of group occupancy consumption on the hotel side. So relatively speaking, when you compare us to the top 25 markets, we're doing really, really well, even though we've seen a little fall off in consumption on the definite room night side, not that much compared to other cities, especially major destinations. We are monitoring Going on with that portion of the conversation, Ben, we are monitoring the effect of recent announcements as far as a potential slight recession in 23, which could affect a corporate market. So we're keeping a close eye on that, but based on verbal commitments we have from the client community, we seem to be right on pace in terms of hitting our goal, and should see some uptick in December. We also, 23, in terms of what's on the books, if all holds, will be a record-breaking year for the city from the convention market side, which is very, very exciting. We continue to sell into that single property bookings at the hotels. Regarding trade show efforts, as a result of hosting the American Society of Association Executives in August, which Jeff referenced, we've seen and issued 28 leads representing 193,000 lead room nights, which is very positive. We continue to follow up with those clients. And in October, our sales team participated as part of IMAX Americas, which is our largest convention trade show, and met with over 450 clients who expressed interest in bringing their annual meetings to Nashville. So we continue to follow up with those folks. Regarding additional sales info, Marie Sewing, our Chief Diversity Officer, is unable to be here today. She's currently away attending the National Coalition of Black Meeting Planners in Jacksonville. She'll be traveling to the National Black Caucus of State Legislators November 30th through December 2nd with Representative Love in Vegas. And they'll be promoting the fact that Nashville is actually hosting that program in 23 here, which will be very exciting to get that kind of exposure. In October, our Mid-Atlantic Regional Rep, Eddie Canaday, attended the International Gay and Lesbian Travel Association annual meeting in Milan and promoted Nashville as a meetings destination. He's actually a member of the IGLTA Foundation Board Executive Committee, which is really exciting. And then we just booked the the Association of African American Museums for summer of 23, which NAMAM will host alongside the Grand Hyatt, which is really exciting exposure for our city. Regarding the tour and travel team, they recently attended the World Travel Market for the first time since 2019 in London. They brought back the popular Rhythms of the South Brunch event, which is a partnership between New Orleans and Atlanta, which featured UK actor and musician Sam Palladio from the Nashville series and Grammy-nominated artist Cassidy Pope, who was the winner of The Voice. During WTM, they hosted 50 top tour operators and media, and really all positive feedback regarding travel sentiment for 23, despite inflation, the energy crisis, and strength of the dollar is working to our benefit. And Dina, I don't know if there's anything you wanted to mention as well or add on to the WTM.
It was a great show, and we had such good feedback from the international tour operators about Nashville. They really appreciated that we stayed top of mind and in front of them during the pandemic. We did a lot of virtual concerts and meetings and webinars with them, and so I think it really made a difference. Nashville stood out as a destination.
I do have a question. Mentioning the fall off in attendance, what do we attribute that to? Do you have a sense of that?
It's a variety of factors. A cutback in business travel budgets is primarily part of that. And that's just, there's some interesting fall off. On average, we're seeing on the citywide side about a fall off of 20%, 15 to 20%. But again, when you look at that ranking in CVent, where we're number 2 only to Orlando in terms of consumption year to date, still a really positive position to be in. But we anticipate in 23, we're hopeful that business travel budget will be reinstated, but it's touch and go right now.
I wondered if it was people concerned still about travel and being in groups because of health reasons. Right. And then kind of the debacle of air travel, which has been
That's definitely factoring in as well, air travel. We don't hear as much about COVID concerns anymore, primarily the travel budgets. Yeah, good question.
It was interesting when we hosted ASAE, the big association meeting in August, they had their deadline and then they extended it a couple of weeks right at the end, and they had this surge of attendees. I mean, it was like it went up 1,000.
1,000 the week
just
of.
in a week.
Yeah.
So people are waiting to the last minute to decide if they're coming or not. But then on the other side of that, opposite side of that, they're canceling at the last minute as well. So it's still a little squishy.
Thank you. Yeah, squishy.
Squishy.
Thank you, Adrian. Any other questions regarding? No. All right, well, we will head on into our research. And Bruce, do you have a presentation?
I do. Brad's putting it up on screen. Well, good morning, everyone. Today, I'd like to review with you year-to-date hotel performance in Davidson County, as well as review the new supply that's come online. I'm going to walk you through a 90-day outlook of hotel occupancy pace, and then look at annual growth projections for 2023, looking at hotel metrics as well as visitation. So throughout the course of the year, we've had 12 hotels open throughout the county. That attributed to 1,888 additional rooms. Recently, this month, the Four Seasons opened in the heart of downtown. That was bringing another 236 five-star rooms to the county. Other new properties I'm highlighting here is the Hotel Frey Curio Collection by Hilton. That opened in August with 200 rooms, located in Midtown on Broadway across the street from the Embassy Suites in Vanderbilt. The Conrad also opened in Midtown this summer, another luxury property, bringing in 234 additional rooms, as well as the One Hotel, that's across the street from Music City Center. That shares the building with the new Embassy Suites in downtown. That's an additional 506 rooms. So looking more at the supply to give you the totality of what's going on in the market. Downtown, if you combine the downtown core, the midtown and surrounding areas, that comprises 116 hotels now, 20,521 rooms. What I'm showing you in this bar graph is an illustration of total rooms. If you add up each day and how many rooms were available in the supply, we have close to 14 million rooms being offered in 2022 throughout the county. The projection is that amount of supply will increase by about 7% in 2023. So from the time of the pandemic to now, we've increased in supply by about 18%. Current inventory in Davidson County is 269 hotels in operation, and they comprise 38,755 rooms. So if you add up all the rooms in the greater Nashville market, including adjacent counties to Davidson, including cities like Franklin and Murfreesboro, the MSA has 486 hotels, 56,976 rooms. Through 2024, the city is preparing to open an additional 2,200 rooms that are in various forms of construction. If you add in the rooms that are being planned, hotels that are in development, the whole pipeline is 56 properties, and that attributes to a possible 7,698 additional rooms coming online. So I'm very pleased to inform the commission that we've set some records in October. Davidson County broke historic hotel records measuring hotel performance. Prior to this October, this market has never exceeded 900,000 rooms sold in a single month. And as you can see here, in October, the preliminary numbers say we sold 939,309 rooms. That's an increase of 16.6% compared to October of 2021. And that's 10.8% higher than October of 2019. Highest ever record monthly and average daily rate, ADR, coming in at $222.53. That jumps up 10.2% compared to October of 21 and 15.3% increase compared to October 2019. So extremely positive effect of Nashville having more supply with the higher demand selling at higher rates. That payoff is record revenue, record hotel revenue. For the first time in October, we broke the barrier of 200 million sold in a single month in room revenue. October preliminary revenue numbers, according to STR, will come in October. It was 209 million. This is 28.5% more than same time last year, and looking at 27.5%. So very impressive numbers for the city. Something to note with record demand, we didn't get record hotel occupancy. As I've highlighted earlier, we have greater supply to fill. October 2022 saw 78.9% hotel occupancy, a very good number. But last October, if you compare to last October, it was good because last October was 71%. But if you rewind back to October of 2019, the city achieved 84% occupancy. So you have this side effect of added supply. It's going to take time to absorb that supply to get back to those occupancy levels we saw in 2019. So this highlights the need for continued marketing of tourism and meetings to help foster bringing in more visitors to the city.
Which is why they added hotel rooms to begin with, because they didn't have enough hotel rooms to take care of the supply. So it's an ongoing.
Yes.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
There, so the occupancy from 19 to 22 was from 84 down to 79, but the rate still went up?
The rates did go up.
By 15%.
So we're charging more than we did in 19.
Fascinating.
Do you have
So
a comparison weekday to weekend?
I do, not in my back pocket, but I'm happy to share it with you. But there is certainly a variation on, Friday and Saturdays versus midweek.
There's probably also a change in upscale hotels that have been added
Our
versus.
portfolio has become more diverse.
Correct.
As
So
I
that
mentioned,
would-
the luxury hotels
Correct.
that are selling
That
at a
would
higher
increase
rate.
the rate.
Yes.
Okay, all right, that makes sense to me. Thank you.
So here I'm just kind of capturing overall hotel demand. The line chart, it's looking at the monthly demand each month, and I put a different color for each year. That second top blue line represents this year, 2022, where the city kind of saw some seasonality, the ups and downs, where we picked up in March. We had 856,000 rooms sold, hitting past our monthly record in June, which was 877,000 rooms sold. July was just as good as March, and then we saw that dip back to school season in August. But fortunately, if you look at what happened this summer, the fear of higher gas prices, economic uncertainty, I was kind of giving some pause to how are we going to do this fall in the travel season. And we've done very well, as I noted, with those record-breaking numbers. We rebounded in September with 866,000 rooms sold, and then we hit that record of 939 in October. That purple dotted line, that is an optimistic line of what is going to happen in 2023. It could be 13% higher than it was in 22 room demand. So that's a mid-year. Economists were looking at this and giving me forecasts. I'm going to get a renewed forecast soon. Given the economic uncertainty, a quote, mild recession on the horizon, we could get a little bit of a haircut from this, but there is very optimism that we're going to exceed 22 numbers. Yes, with seasonality. So I'm going to peek ahead at what's going to happen in the next 90 days. And STR is giving me a forward report. So we have about 140 hotels contributing to this report all over the greater MSA. And they're giving us what their occupancy level is now looking 90 days out. So this report specifically looking at from November 7th through February 4th, occupancy is 30.6%. Last year, it was 3.6 points lower, so it was 27%. So we're doing better. We have more occupancy looking ahead. We're pacing better. That's the design of this report. So broken down by weekend, we're at 34%. We're same time last year, we were at 31. Weekday, we're now at 29 versus 25. If you look at just Thursdays in the next 90 days, we're 5 points higher. We're at 33 versus 28. If you look at the whole month of November, right now we're at 49.7% occupied from these hotels reporting. Last year we were at 42. So looking ahead, how are we doing? How is the late fall and winter? As a pace compared to last year, it is looking very positive.
So the Sunday over last year, do we think that that's part of, again, with the airlines, you can't get a flight out on Sunday because that's a percentage up? We're seeing more guests stay over.
That's
on
interesting.
On Sunday night. versus in the past, they would have departed.
I used to call Thursday a shoulder night as
Right.
well, and that doesn't look like a shoulder.
Well, they arrive on Thursday
Yeah.
and then, yeah.
People have
They
a
leave
different
on Monday.
definition of a weekend now, yeah,
Less
for sure.
expensive to fly.
Yeah, it's less expensive.
And then you have that blend of business travel and then staying
in.
later,
Yeah.
enjoying our fair city. It's great. So here is a crystal ball. What could happen in 2023? Our partners, Tourism Economics and STR, gave me these numbers. Again, it's a forecast, so we kind of go boldly with this, but it's subject to change. I know Tourism Economics is updating their numbers for 23, given the likelihood of a recession at the end of this month. But as it stands shown here, room demand, 10.8 million rooms sold would be 13% higher than this year and 22% higher than 2019. This would bring in $2.16 billion in hotel revenue. That's a 42% increase from where we had in 19. So again, calling back to the higher rates. More supply, more rooms being sold. It's what you want to happen. So again, if we jump in supply, we're at 27% more rooms than we for 23 than we had in 19. But again, occupancy, we're 4% lower than 2019, 72.3% showing in the city. So we have that capacity to bring in more overnight visitors to get back to those occupancy levels we once had. The city is recovered and now in growth mode. To the right, I'm showing you visitor projections. In 2023, we hope to welcome 15 million visitors outside the 50-mile zone of the city. That's how Tourism Economics does their calculations of, quote unquote, what is a visitor? As Butch likes to say, he doesn't have a turnstile at the county line. If we could, we'd build one, but we don't. So we kind of an estimate who is a visitor, who are locals here. So that's the estimate, 15 million visitors. Majority being that domestic, international coming in at 273,000. Big picture with international, looking across the world with international travel, it's not projected to come back to 2019 levels until 2025. That said, Nashville in 2023 should welcome about 27% more than we did this year, but we're still about 30% off our peak that we had in 2019. So we want to climb back to those numbers of 2019. Overall, the calculation on visitor spend across the county, so this is all aspects of travel spending while people are in Music City, that's going to bring in an estimated $9.3 billion. That's going to be up 5% from what the year projections are for this year. So given all that, let's bring on the new year, shall we? Solid foundation for the city. Looking at all these metrics, we've certainly really emerged as a top travel destination. Any other questions I can help?
Yes, I have one. Is there any way that you could graciously disseminate this amongst us and maybe also this information that she shared a little while ago so that we may absorb and read?
Absolutely. I can certainly share the reports that Tourism Economics have given me. I'm kind of giving you a highlight here, but if you need more detail, happy to share.
Yes, that would be great. Like an email of this right here would be wonderful to have.
Yes, absolutely.
A little more about tourism economics. It's part of Oxford.
Yeah, so they're a part of Oxford Economics. So they have this whole team of economists struggling with what's going to happen next, given the recession and everything, looking at the big world picture of how the world economy is functioning, how the U.S. economy is functioning, what's going on in the Southeast. And then we subscribe to them as a consultant to say, hey, what's going to go on in Nashville? And they look at all our metrics that we can have. So what's going on at the airport, which has had record numbers of passengers, looking at total rooms with this STR data. They also look at home sharing, so Airbnbs, how that market has, and I have additional information on that. So in totality, they're really trying to define the visitor and what they're spending on. And so looking at all our venues, all our restaurants, that's how they come up to these annual forecasted numbers. And they also kind of break it down how much average spend per visitor, how much they're spending per day, which I can also happily share with the commission.
I think that the average spending per day would be some interesting data. If you'd forward this to me, I'll get it out to the.
A link to our research report would be great too. from the beginning. That right there, the whole thing, that you just.
Sure.
These things.
Absolutely.
It allows us, I know Shannon and I get around a little bit. Actually, today I'm portraying Shannon Sanders. But we meet all kinds of people in various places around the world and here. And it makes us able to speak a little bit more intelligently about our city when we have these backing factors, because you never know, we may run into someone that's involved with the folks that are over in Milan and convince them to come over to the Nationals.
Thank you, Bruce. That's some very interesting data that I think all of us can use in various ways. So excited about that. So thank you very much. Our next piece of business is to approve our meeting dates and time for 23. I'm proposing that we continue with our 8:30 meetings on the second Thursday. So it's a quarterly meeting, so 8:30 Thursdays. And then I've listed the dates. Do note that the November 16th day, I shifted that down just simply because the CMAs will be on November 8th
That's the confirmed date for the CMAs this year?
Yes.
Okay.
for 23. That is
Sorry.
confirmed.
I'm getting ahead of myself.
So I just literally, so these are the dates. And so if everyone is in approval of 8:30 second Thursdays on a quarterly basis, I would just need a motion.
I'll motion.
Second. Okay. It has been moved and properly second. We will vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? No opposed, then the motion stands approved for our meetings to be held on the second Thursday each quarter at 8:30, beginning February 9th. Do we have any other business or announcements for the groups? I did not, and I apologize, introduce Brittany Chandler. I noted her last at our September meeting, but Brittany is with us in person. So she's our newest commission member. So excited to have you
Back again.
back again. Any other business or announcements? Well, just wish everyone a happy holiday and a safe holiday season. And we will have our next meeting on February 9th. The meeting will stand adjourned.
We're coming over to your place for Thanksgiving, right, Sherry?
Yes.
Okay.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.